Hey, everyone, it's Jeronica.
This is Andy.
Cheers, this is Cheryl.
Howdy, it's Sultan, and this is Logging into UKG, a Chicago users production.
Your source of HCM information by HCM admins for HCM admins. And happy Friday, everybody.
Yay!
Happy Friday if you're listening to
Friday.
it on a Friday.
Hey,
If not, it's just our Friday.
I was talking to my Mexico team, so I know Feliz Viernes, everyone.
Love it.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Today we have an exciting guest joining us, Keith MacDonald. He is the principal product manager with UKG and the expert in all things WFM Classic. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You
we
a
are very
big fan of the show there, Keith?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good answer.
He's our number one fan.
That's right.
Is it?
so all this time, I mean, we've dedicated a lot of talking to WFM, right? Workforce management in general, but feel like Classic has kind of gotten shoved to the side. So we wanted to bring it back into the spotlight here and just have a great conversation with Keith. And I'll start it off with a little bit of story how Keith and I met. And so we were on a call together. Don't worry, Keith, all good, all good. And I am not a big fan of TOA, right? And I made mention on the call that I'm not a fan, and I could see Keith's face just turn. Turns out he's one of the, correct me if I'm wrong here, one of the developers, right, with TOA. And we ended up having a separate call, and he's maybe a little more of a fan of TOA. So it was great. Just didn't think it was possible, but it happened. So all good there. And yeah, if you just want to go ahead, jump in.
What's the acronym?
Yeah.
Cheryl, you can't be dropping acronyms
Yeah.
for folks that don't even know. I'm over here like TOA. Like,
Okay. This actually is a great question for Keith, because things that I've seen, it's time off and attendance, but then people sometimes call it time off and allowance. So we'll let you chime in. Yeah.
That's a great question. So the original intention with that product was to do time off and allowances. Allowances such as every year you get $100 for work boots or that sort of thing. That never made it. Even using the product would know, but the time off is there.
Nice.
Got it.
So that's
yeah.
one of the components of WFM Classic. The other two would be the timesheet component and the scheduling component.
So take us back. You said UTA, UTM. I'm super familiar with them. We've got WFM, not Classic. What's the difference between, let's go super basic for those who don't know. Like, tell us what's the difference between Classic versus not Classic. I don't know what I'm supposed to call it.
Sure. Yeah, we have a lot of products that have similar names. So
Yeah.
it can get a little confusing. It's confusing to us sometimes. Wait, which WFM did you mean? Because I'm good for one of them, but not the other. So WFM Classic, UTM, and UTA, these are the time products that Ultimate Software brought into the merger. So these were the time products that we sold, implemented, supported before the merger. The product now called Pro WFM used to be known as Workforce Dimensions, which is Kronos's time product, or one of them that they held over there.
Okay, so for those who don't know, either you were a legacy Ulti customer or a legacy K customer, and your focus has always been legacy Ulti stuff, it sounds like. So it's kind of that WFM. Perfect. Now that the stage has been set.
Now yeah. And for clarification then, because some people have UTA, some have UTM. I feel like very few people have TOA. I feel like, but I could be wrong. But yeah, if you just want to then go into the difference between UTM and UTA as well.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So these are products that Ultimate Software sold pre-merger. UTM is a product that's geared more towards the mid-market. Those smaller end customers, I'll say the sweet spot there is 200 to 5,000 employees, let's say. Where UTA's target market is the enterprise customers, the big ones, over 5, over 10,000. That's where that product is geared for. So those two were sold prior to the merger, as well as WFM Classic, which was a homegrown time product that we were building at Ultimate in order to create a next generation time product for Ultimate.
What would you say is like the main difference besides the market that they serve? Like, if you're, we all know, I think we're all pretty familiar with markets, but like, is there a functionality or something that you get versus all three? I heard you say allowances that didn't really take off,
Yeah.
but it was there.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with the other two, but for the audience, kind of like, what would an environment, what's the break point?
Yeah, the capabilities they're similar between all three. All three solve the same basic time product or time problems, such as overtime after 40 hours or rounding punches to the nearest 15, all like that. On the UTA side, being an enterprise product, it is very, very configurable. And for those enterprise customers, you'll know that it's customizable as well. We offered customs for UTA on top of the way the product was delivered to make it work exactly the way that you needed it. Between UTM and WFM Classic, the capabilities are very similar. WFM Classic had on the roadmap prior to the merger, but things changed. Attendance points, for example, never got built into WFM Classic. But all three do solve the same basic problems there. They're all accessible from the web. They're all accessible through SSO on the web, and they're all built into the mobile app as well. So the experience is pretty smooth all the way around.
Now,
Nice.
we jumped in real quick with all of these acronyms and all of these. Tell us what the differences are. And we had a very brief like, hey, this is Keith. All right, let's talk time stuff now.
Right.
We got so excited. Good call.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, what I gotta say, Dalton, because I know
All
where you're going. I was thinking the same thing. If people saw Cheryl, her arms were like waving and flailing around. Like if this was a YouTube channel, it would be a very different
It'd be
experience.
solid.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. I started to like, hey Keith, why don't you introduce yourself? And yes, Veronica, you jumped in, you got all excited and want to know about what TOA and UTA and UTM, and
You
I'm
get
still
the
moving my
acronym
arms
dropping
around.
at the beginning. I was like, what?
I know.
Well,
We're excited about this, Keith.
oh, yeah.
So yes.
But I would say let's get to know a little bit more about you, Keith. So like Cheryl mentioned that you were one of the developers of TOA. Like, you want to take us back a little bit and be like, hey, how did you start here? Bring us up along your journey up to now, and then we might interject with some questions along the way, and then we'll continue on with the time discussion after. But this way, we all get to know you a bit better.
Sure, absolutely. I get excited about time as well. That's been pretty much my whole career. So I'm happy to talk time all day long. So Keith MacDonald, I've been at the company since February of 2016, so coming up on 10 years now. I got brought on board because that new time product was being built and they were hiring people with the expertise to work on that. I got hired as a senior business analyst. Through a few different promotions and moves and things over the years, I've ended up with that principal product manager title. Otherwise in my career, I've almost exclusively worked in the time and HCM industry through a few different companies before I ended up here.
Okay.
So what does a day in the life of Keith MacDonald look like?
Yeah.
That's a good question. And things can be very different day to day, which I like as a product manager. I went to school for computer science, and I didn't end up being a software developer. And I think that probably suits me better because I think working the same kind of thing every day. Okay, what's my task? Let me build it. That's cool. But I like having a little more variety, which is really good. So I could be doing anything from talking to customers, coordinating with our support team as we're troubleshooting an issue or fixing an issue, working on short or long-term planning for the products and for all three of the products that we mentioned. Things could be really, all over the place, which is good. So it's a little bit something new every day. Right now, we're working on some annual planning for the next fiscal year ahead for us.
What
Is
gets you
there any
excited?
sneak peek? Yeah, sneak
I'm-
peek you can give us, or is that what you're gonna ask, Veronica?
No, it actually wasn't, but that's okay. Sneak peek's good.
Yeah, I don't think I can offer too much at the moment while we're not fully settled yet, we can say.
That's fair.
What gets you excited most about your
Good
job?
question.
That's where my question was, because you love time, and
Yep.
what is it that keeps you getting energized, new, fresh ideas, and want to keep coming back doing this work?
Because Doc Brown liked time too, and we know how that turned out.
You're
That's,
right.
that's true.
That's a good reference. I just saw last weekend the Back to the Future musical. It's in Toronto right now.
It's the best. Love it.
It was
Yes.
very entertaining. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yes.
see it
Yeah, we liked it.
on a cruise, so I'm glad you said it's good.
Yeah.
good.
I think it was pretty well done. This is totally off the time topic now, but that's okay.
That's okay. We're down for it.
It is, but yet it isn't.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, so I would recommend it. It was good. It was entertaining. I think probably a lot of the people that were there, everybody's seen those movies. Everybody knows what are the classic lines, the classic scenes, the classic characters, and I think they did a really good job. The story's a little bit adapted for the stage to make it work on the stage. Some things are omitted or simplified or changed up a little bit to make it work on the stage. But yeah, my wife and I, we thought it was a lot of fun.
But what is it
that was
about time that gets you excited?
Well, what I like about Chime is it's different. Every customer is different. That's something that I started out in support for a Time product, and that's something I found interesting is that every customer is configured differently. Every industry is different, the way that they approach things, and even within that, every customer's the way they work can be different. But early on, I got exposure to a lot of different industries, which was really, really interesting and really fun. Nowadays, what's interesting is that I've really in a different place in the software lifecycle for all these products. I got hired on to build a brand new product, which is go, figure out the go to market, plan all the features, and we had beta customers and all that stuff to get through. And then we had that initial go to market and that whole thing, and that was all new. That was my first time bringing a substantial product to the market. And now we're in a different phase where we're in kind of like a long-term maintenance phase. An end of life has been announced for UTA. So we're working on that behind the scenes as well. And it's all for me still new, which is cool. I have done some end of lives before, but this will be the biggest one that I've worked on to date.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask if you were going to share that there's end of life. So what are you all advising customers, knowing that UTA, and there's a large segment of your population or your customer base that are on UTA, and maybe UTM doesn't fit or WFM Classic doesn't fit. What are you all advising them? What's the direction for those customers?
The very best advice I would have would be to get in touch with your rep here. And to explore Pro WFM. That's an enterprise class product. UTA is an enterprise class product. As far as all the comparisons that we've done of features, that is a very good fit for most customers. So I would recommend exploring over there and working with the sales team or the pre-sales team if there are any specific needs, specific requirements that anybody would like to make sure that they're all hashed out and they're all covered in dimensions, Pro WFM, or how that process works in that product and how it looks a little different than UC and UTA.
Okay.
So we've said that you mentioned, the end of life for UTA. I know there's always speculation around, oh, well, they didn't name my product as an end of life, but is ours going to be sunset anytime soon? Do you have anything that you can share on that of like, hey, these ones are sticking around for a bit. We think this might sunset at such and such point.
It's probably the most frequent question I get.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Between internally or externally, maybe you've seen it in the community for the products as well. We don't have any end of life plan for WFM Classic or for UTM. We haven't seen in a few years. We've seen the products transition into more of a long-term maintenance mode. We're not seeing that innovative new features being added into those products, but the rug isn't about to be pulled out from anyone. We've given a 3-year notice here with end of life for UTA, and a substantial notice would make sense for the others as well, but we're not planning for that right now.
So glad you said that, because I think that's kind of what I think the looming is Dalton said is my product going away. And there may not be that, but you said the key critical thing, there's no enhancement. We're not putting R&D dollars behind those other two products. It's just sustain mode to make sure that the roof doesn't fall off of the machine, if you will. But let me ask you, you didn't drop all the sneak peeks. I'm gonna ask for one. So UTA is going away in 3 years, but for those that are on it, there's something else that's probably pretty critical that's coming if you're going to stay within the 3 years, meaning the upgrade to the interface. And can you talk a little bit about that for those folks that are still UTA users?
Sure. Yeah, there is a UTA upgrade happening. And that'll be happening over the next year and a half or so, gradually. So starting towards the end of this year, for customers, we'll be upgrading them. The plan will be to provide an upgraded environment for customers to test in, make sure everything is okay. We'll remedy anything that's not before we upgrade over in production. So that's the plan so far. This upgrade, for anyone that's been through a UTA upgrade before, should not be as significant as previous. Some of them have been more heavy as far as the amount of changes and the amount of just new stuff, but this one shouldn't be so substantial.
You've said that under your umbrella sort of is like UTA, UTM, and WFM Classic, and mentioned that folks leaving UTA might find a good fit with WFM Pro. Those are sort of like the big names that we know. But at the beginning, we talked a little bit about TOA. What other like small or specific time systems does UKG have? And can you tell us like a little bit about what each of those are for? Or if it still exists and is around.
Yeah. So the three big products that we brought in, Ultimate Software brought into the merger, were UTA, UTM, WFM Classic. So TOA is one of the components of WFM Classic.
Okay.
So
it's just a leg or an arm of WFM Classic. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So within WFM Classic, there's time off, there's timesheets, and there's scheduling. They were broken out separately for licensing, where you could have one and not the other, or that sort of thing. And that's the way those work. We also had a module within Pro called e-employee timesheets, which was a very basic timesheets module, and that's since been retired. There also was a product that was a very basic version of WFM Classic that's also since been retired, that we brought in. On the other side there, on the Kronos side, Pro WFM, formerly Workforce Dimensions, is the big enterprise class product over there. There's also Workforce Ready, which is like an SMB solution. And it's a full suite on its own, completely separate from the Pro suite, where my products work in. Aside from that, there's another product that's specific to US federal government, and it's run over there. And there was another time product that was specific to the defense industry, but that was recently sold. So I think there was a news release about that, which you can look up, I suppose, if you're so interested. But that's the major players.
Okay. With those as the major players, I know that a couple months ago, UKG announced their acquisition of Shiftboard as a scheduling software. Do we know, or has it sort of been announced yet for you guys even internally? Hey, is that going to stay its own platform? Is that sort of being merged in? Like, what is UKG looking at when they're acquiring other time or other scheduling softwares?
That's a very good question, but I think that's probably above my pay grade to make a commentary on.
That's fair.
It was an ambitious question, but I was like, maybe.
It's a very good question.
Fair enough.
Well, I do have a question. I hope this is within your pay scale. I hope this falls right there in line. We've seen like the new user experience coming with, how the UI is going to look, and it has some time components and time features. Since there's not an end of life or sunsetting for UTM or Workforce Classic, are those users going to have the ability to get more user-friendly access within the core Pro product if they're users? Because I know they put a lot of energy behind Pro WFM kind of being surfaced there, but have there been conversations, or is there going to be some value to that team? I like what they're doing to surface that right in the HR suite side. Do you know if there's any discussion to kind of bring that forth?
I can say that that's adding time features to Pro, like to the dashboard or something like that, is not on the roadmap for my products right now.
Okay.
There definitely is that upgraded user experience coming around with some menu changes coming, and some UI look and feel kinds of changes that are coming as well. Those are coming after or in the neighborhood of Aspire, just after Aspire.
So is it safe to say that your products are, I don't want to say standalone, but bolt-ons, and will always kind of be that, right? For those niche markets that don't want quite a Pro WFM, you'll be able to access it. It still integrates it. There's a home for it in Pro, but it will always kind of be separate and aside.
Yeah, I think the fair way, or the way that we would look at it here, is that we've got these products that are at different places in their life cycle. If a customer, we don't sell these products anymore, UTA, UTM, WFM Classic. These stopped selling a while back. The big shiny product now is that Pro WFM product. So for a customer that's shopping for Pro and looking for a time product to go with it, the product to go for is Pro WFM.
Makes sense.
And so for the other products, they're on that long-term maintenance life cycle where we're maintaining features, we're keeping things working, we're keeping integrations working with Pro, we're doing all the behind the scenes things to keep the apps working as far as all the integrations that you use. They're inside the mobile app. All that stuff is happening, and it's kind of invisible because it just keeps working. But there are some things behind the scenes there that are happening.
Does that sort of maintenance for UTM and WFM Classic, I'm guessing that includes any compliance updates that might be coming down the pipeline as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Any security updates that are required by our security team to make sure that we are vigilant, or any compliance updates that we need to do. If there was a new overtime rule somewhere and we weren't able to handle it today, we may build a feature to accommodate that. It's not too often that happens, because a lot of times when there are new rules, they're similar to rules that we had because that rule existed somewhere else. But there are niche rules in different places. California meal premiums, Nevada has a rolling 24-hour overtime, which is unique. New York, I believe, has a split shift rule that's very unique, that sort of thing. But it's not too often that these rules come out, and they're so unique that on the time product side, we have to build a whole new rule or new screen or something like that. I can recall back in the pandemic days, I was representing the three products at a series of meetings that were meant to keep up with compliance, because new things kept coming out every day. This state come up with this, and that state that, and this province this, and that province that, as far as COVID leave. And we didn't end up having to build any new rules for that, because it was all variations of things that we could do already. So that worked out pretty well. But they're very capable products, I guess I can say, because of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was pleasantly surprised too when we met that there were some functions that you were working on. You pointed out in TOA. Is there, since you're not selling the product anymore, there's probably not a lot of that happening. But are you able to do that a little bit with some of those products, like the UTA, UTM, a little more with you TOA?
Yeah, we have added small features here and there on all three products, I guess. Perhaps not so much on UTA. but definitely for UTM and WFM Classic, we've added a new field to a report or a new filter on a screen or kind of little things like that that make life easier.
Yeah.
And one bigger thing that we did add, I would say recently, but it was last December, was the connection to the My Inbox for UTM and UTA, where that brought in time off request notifications that previously were only seen on mobile. Now they're seen on the web as well in the web inbox. So you get that unified inbox experience from those two products.
Do you have a favorite upgrade that you've done to one of those three, or any or all of them, in the past couple of years? One that you're like, this was a fun problem to solve.
Sure. That's a really good question. I'm going to go with a feature, which I think I just showed you, Cheryl, but it was a real lifesaver of a feature, which is the policy transfer tool or the policy
Yes.
group transfer tool.
Here we go.
That was a really fun tool. So in WFM Classic, and this came out actually, I think it was at the end of 2021 or 2022 maybe. So it's not too new, but it was a really interesting challenge. So the problem to solve was that customers, you may need to move an employee from one place to another. They get a promotion, they get a move, they get whatever, they get a new position. And by moving over there, they get a different set of time off policies over there. We use that term policy in WFM Classic. It's plan if you're within Pro. I know it's slightly different, but the way you accrue vacation is different because you're full-time instead of part-time or that sort of thing. And there was no easy way to move employees from one to the other and bring their balances and time off requests with them. So you would have to, go to that employee, write down all their time off requests, write down all their balances, and then manually key them back in onto the new policies that the employee had. And so for that, we ended up building kind of a wizard, which allows you to map one policy to another. There's some overrides available that can move the time off requests. That was a really neat project because of the complexity of the feature. We ended up really taking our time with it as far as designing it, and we actually ended up doing a round of user experience research as well. Excuse me. So we had a user experience researcher. We reached out to a number of customers. I want to say 6 or so, 7. And we ran those customers through some designs of what this wizard will look like and walked through all the steps and collected feedback at every step. And that gave us some direction to say, okay, this is good, or this is something that we have to adjust before we build it. It gives us that feedback before we build it so that we know when we do build something, especially when it's complex, that it's going to be the right thing and the thing that solves the problem. And I remember one particular customer at the end of his call, he asked, "When can I have it?" So that was good news that we were on the right track with that for him. But we see this with a number of different products here that have different kinds of customer advisory boards as well, where they run ideas, things that we're considering for the future as well.
That's very
So
cool.
that's not limited to our product. That's
Yeah.
UKG wide. There are different boards and the advisory groups.
Earlier in the call, you were talking about how one of the biggest questions that you get from customers is when is my end of life cycle? What would you say is probably your second most question that you get? And either what's the best answer, or how do you recommend to them to be able to fix whatever that is?
Yeah, something I get a lot of questions of. I don't know. I haven't been tallying, but something I do get a lot of questions about is for customers who are moving to Pro WFM. So they're moving from UTA, UTM, or WFM Classic over to Pro WFM. Questions just coordinating the offboarding of one product. When is it going to be switched off? How is it going to be switched off? How do I turn it off? So the employees don't use this product because they should be making time off requests in Pro WFM now. Or sometimes questions as well, just coordinating when customers move from these products to Pro WFM. or when customers are terminating, there's a small fee, but customers can get a database backup of the product. And so sometimes I get just coordinating questions about, can we get that backup? Can your team create it? Or questions about that. And we have a limited amount of documentation that can go with that, and our support is limited for those, but we do make sure that customers have that file. And then you have it and you can store it yourself. You can restore it yourself and refer to that for all your compliance needs.
That's interesting that you bring that up. For those that either may be considering or are looking into it, what would you say on average is the time that it takes to convert from one to the other?
Oh, it really varies. I don't know if I have a good answer for that without talking to someone that's on the implementation team. It really varies depending on whether the customer is a simpler requirements, more complex requirements, how busy the customer is, when is the right time for them to move. They might sign a deal today, but now it's the holiday season and that's busy time, and we don't, they're not going to have anybody available for a project at that time. So it really, really varies.
Okay.
Especially as well, the size of the org. I guess I should mention that as well. Are we talking a 500 employee org or a 10,000?
I saw Veronica just waiting when you asked that question, Andy. She's like, how long was it supposed to take me?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, Keith, you pointed this out to me as well, just as help, right, with the community, that their UKG Pro Workforce Management Classic that you can join in the community, right? And stay up to date. So for continued support after you maybe, well, I guess you're not switching into Classic, but yeah.
Yeah, we do have community for all three products. So definitely a place to check out if you're not in there and if you have those products. Because we've got users helping users, and then as well we help out and answer questions in there as well.
If it's gonna stay and you're not selling it anymore, shouldn't we move from Classic to Vintage? I don't know, Vintage sounds kind of cool. Yeah.
It's a cooler name, I'll give it that.
You going like that. So I'm gonna ask, I don't know if this is controversial, but I feel like in my mind it's controversial. So let's fast forward 5 years, maybe let's say 10. Let's say you're still hanging around. You love your job, you seem to be excited, but all of your products have now since went bye-bye. What other product in the time space would you be excited to work on? Which one would you want to kind of get in the weeds and put your spin on and learn a little bit more about it? Is there one that you're like really eager to say, hey, I'd love to be a part of, what you all are doing over there?
Sure. Well, I'll just pitch to a future manager here.
I was just thinking wink, wink as you asked that question, Veronica.
Being in the time domain, we're under the same organization as the other time products, and most closely linked with that Pro WFM group. So as these wind down, I could easily see myself and my team moving into work on that product and the aspects that they work on. Within that space, there are sub teams that work on different elements, platform elements, timekeeping elements, scheduling elements. So there's lots to do.
But where do you want to be? This is your pitch.
Where do I want to be?
You want to be?
Yeah, I honestly like a new challenge. I do really like platform kinds of things. I think that kind of stuff is fun to work on. It's a little more technical. That works for me coming from the computer science degree background.
There you go.
So I like that kind of stuff. That's where I would probably
know some of the people over there. I don't know if our podcast has reached them, but I know a lot of folks on that end. You heard it. Keith wants it in for him and his team. So when UTM and all that stuff decides it's not going to be the bee's knees, like he says, open the door, just let them in. They've got some work to do. They're willing to pull up their sleeves and then come right on over.
I think I'm gonna level up on that with a plug of, you could start a new division, WFM Light, right? For those that don't need all of it. That is a selfish plug, but I know there's a bunch of us out there. And Keith, you and your team can run it. You can develop it. You can run it.
So,
She
Got it.
basically said, build something new again.
so diet WFM.
WFM light sounds better. I'm just saying, we got
Sorry,
vintage,
I like diet.
WFM light.
I don't know. We said vintage and classic earlier. I think we're going to stick with the car terms that it's got to be WFM mini.
Oh,
Mm.
love you, Dalton. That's perfect. I used to have a Mini Cooper too, so that's perfect. Yes.
Yes. Well, you heard it. It sounds like you've got, so I mean, here's what I can say. I can hear the passion about what you do. You are really excited about this space. And as a time, I didn't want to be a time geek, but I've ended up in time like for the last 3 years. And so I get it, right? You get over there and it's a challenge and you're excited about it. It's good that we have you on here because as Cheryl said, you've got nuggets to share. So with that being said, like, I'm curious really quickly, like, there's always some obscure, and you talked about a feature that was your favorite that you just kind of rolled out.
Yep.
But is there any advice for the folks that are using these systems and maybe they haven't really grasped their hands around it? They're still kind of struggling with how to make it the best for their organization. Is there any kind of advice you'd give to customers about, getting in there and really getting under the hood with these technologies?
Absolutely. I would to be in contact, I guess that's the summary.
Okay.
If you're a lot of there's turnover in HR departments, right? People are new to these products. A lot of the people running the system now or responsible for the system now were not the people that implemented a system 5 or 10 years ago. So maybe they're less familiar with why something is set up the way it is, or even how something is set up if it's on the complex side. So I would recommend to reach out, use the community, reach out to the support team when you need help to get that expertise, because it often can be out there. And Cheryl's nodding because some of the things that she was looking for, we actually had, and she just wasn't familiar with where to find them. So sometimes that can really be the case, that there may be things that you need that are there and you just don't know.
That's really good advice because I think people struggle with getting overwhelmed and not taking the next step to even ask the question or to look for something. So that's really good.
Before we go ahead and ask any more questions, I think now might be a good time to sort of choose our word of the episode. So I'm going to go ahead and explain it to Keith here, as well as to maybe any first-time listeners. So our word of the episode is a one-word phrase, or a one word that we will go ahead and throw in, because we have our normal presentational meetings that we do 1.5 hours once each month from February through October. And we always wrap up with a quiz, which gives folks a chance to earn some gift cards from our sponsors. One of those quiz questions will always be a word of the episode from one of our podcasts. So essentially, it's a free answer to a quiz, a free chance for them to go ahead and get those sponsorship gift cards. So with that said, Keith, would you like to go ahead and choose what our one word of the episode is for today? The chance here for our folks at the beginning of the September 2025 meeting to win some money.
Sure. Well, our focus all episode here has been time. So how about we go with time?
I like
Time.
it.
Yeah,
Time it is.
that works.
So it's not black olives. It's not vintage. It's not plastic. It's not mini. It's not diet. It's not light. It's time.
It's time. Easy.
Not Doc
yes.
Brown.
Not Doc Brown. Not Doc
Right. That would have been a good one too. But yes,
Brown.
time.
It's a good one. That's a good one.
I am really quickly noting this down so that I don't have to go ahead and try to find it later and be like, what did Keith say?
You can just listen to the podcast. It's fine. Go back through it. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what Andrew was going to say too. I saw it.
Get that AI transcription going.
Right.
Make your life easier. Yeah.
Keith, as we starting to wrap up here, I just wanted to again, from me, thank you for coming on and being a part of this. Time is such a huge element of such a product, and sometimes it can go kind of unsung or just one of those little extras that comes along with everybody's environment. Really, the amazing work that you and all the teams there do behind the scenes, specifically with time, make our lives easier. So you guys are definitely the unsung heroes within UKG, and may not get ultimately the recognition that you deserve, but you are a huge piece of the pie. So thank you for making all of our lives easier.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate
Appreciate that.
you.
We're happy to help.
Yeah. Well, and thanks for making the time
Absolutely.
to be here with us today.
Yes.
Yeah, I know we're all full of puns on this cover.
We
So
are. Well, you got the joy of talking to us before we started recording, so hopefully you weren't like,
All
what did I
good.
get myself into?
Oh, it's been a great group.
So before you go, any parting words, any things you want to leave the audience with from your
Oh boy, words of wisdom. I'll fall back again on to use that community if you need knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge out there on these products, and we chip in there as well if we're seeing a question that's gone unanswered. Other than that, I'm going to be on vacation next week, so looking forward to that. This is the last thing for me just before I sign off for the week off.
Did you put in your time off request?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. We use Pro WFM internally, and so definitely put that in there. So I'm good for that. And then the kids are back to school in just a couple weeks here as well.
Well, again, thank you, Keith. And it looks like we're running out of time here.
We had to end with something that Andy has pun. Yes. Thank you, Keith.
My pleasure.
This has been a Chicago Users Group production. Logging out. Thanks all.
Bye.